didn't get married terribly young, but I did leave school with no qualifications at all. I maybe worked for about 10 years before I got married. I was a hairdresser, trained hairdresser. And then when I got married, I had the children. I worked in a List D school as a matron. As a matron. And it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that job and that role. And when the girls came along, I then just kind of got the wee odd job in Safeway or something like that. But it was always on my mind that I had to do something more. And the plan was the more had to be done by the time I was 40. So time is moving on. Katie had started school, but my youngest was still, she would be about 2.5, 3, when we heard, my friends and I had heard about the Access programme to primary teaching. And we kind of went, that's the very thing. Now, I would love to say that when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a primary teacher, but that's not true. It wasn't until this came up that I thought, you know what, that would be fabulous. If I could get into that would just be great. So my friends and I, we looked into it. I didn't have any qualifications, as I said before, so we went back to school. We went back to secondary school, and I got, I think, a Communications 4, would it be, back in the day? Mm-hmm. Communications 4, sat in with young kids sitting at, and I was like their granny beside them. But it was great, and I did maths as well. I can't remember what I got, but obviously whatever I got, it must have been enough to get me onto this application to go into the programme. So yeah, the following year, having got those qualifications, we then applied, and I was invited to Langside College to sit a written exam. We were told prior to that it would be an essay that we would be required to sit. And there must have been about 40 people. And at that point, just before the exam, they told us, just so that you are aware, there's only 2 places for St Andrews and 7 places for Jordan Hill College. Wow. And we all kind of went, oh no, what am I doing this for? But amazingly enough, my friend and I, who had applied for the St Andrews, we got through. And the others that got through have become friends for life. And that year, I have to say, I don't know, you're going to talk about your year and the people that you've met, but I don't know, it was just amazing. We had an amazing year. We did a week's sabbatical thing out at New Battle Abbey, and it was all on learning skills and whatever, and that was fabulous, sitting in the garden sunshine, and it was just lovely. For a week, no children. So that was, for me, that was... That's it there, that's why you did a great time. That was great. But the thing about that course, and which helped me, was they actually had graduates from Langside College that were opening a nursery. And I was really worried because I had no one to look after my youngest daughter. And they got the opportunity to open their nursery in Langside College, and they gave the Access students 3 nursery places. Wow. Which she was at school, and it was the best time. It was wonderful. Everything just fell into place for us then, and well, yeah, the Access course has allowed me to go on and do so much more than what I had ever intended. I've taught in London. Yep. We came back and I taught in Glasgow, and then they asked me to do a 3-month secondment. My specialism at St Andrews was ICT, which I won the award for.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, did
There's
you
no
know that?
I did. You've reminded me many times.
So with that said, when I came back to Glasgow and they asked us to, when I got a job in a primary school in the East End, and I had offered my ICT skills, and we were doing ICT clubs and things like that with the children. And then it was at the time when, I don't know if you remember the NOF funding, New Opportunities Fund, that the government, Labour government, had put a huge amount of money into education. I think Mr Blair's mantra at that time was education, education, education. And he put a huge amount of money into that. And my boss was asked to go out on a secondment. And the secondment involved training teachers in how to use ICT without computers. Because at that time, you had maybe one computer in a school, not like it is now, obviously.
No.
And it was very difficult to talk about pedagogy to people that couldn't type and didn't understand the benefits of using ICT. So she went out to do that, and she lasted a couple of months, and she came back, she said, I think this is more a job for you. So I was asked to do it for 3 months, and 19 years later.
Yep, still there.
I was there up until January, but my role at that point was to train all educationalists in Glasgow, from head teachers to QIOs to PSAs, in how to use the computing equipment which was available to them. Not just the hardware, but we were looking at the software. Now, with my primary teaching background, my focus was to help primary teachers, and not just say, you've got that programme and you've got this programme. It was more, okay, we've got this programme, how is that going to benefit your children? How can you use that in the classroom to benefit the children?
Yeah.
And that in itself was an amazing experience. It was probably it was a great job, because not only was I able to go in and around every school in Glasgow, and most of the primary schools, all of the primary schools, but most of the secondary schools as well, because I did some work in there with them. And it allowed me to build up this huge network of friends and people that would help me in my role to continue and move on and do whatever it was that they were asking me to do. That sadly finished in January, but because of that connection with education, I thought, right, well, that's me retired now. And then a friend whose son, who I knew very well, had just been given a job as a head teacher. And he phoned me and he went, Miriam, I've got the very job for you. So I'm back in the classroom, albeit it's only 2.5 days a week. I love it. It's not in the same authority. I'm out in East Renfrewshire now. So I'm not going with everybody knowing what I did before, which can be sometimes they frightened to talk to you because they think you know too much. Do you know what I mean? So to them, I'm just this old woman that's doing a bit of supply, really. And I've been offered a permanent post, and which I'm going to take. And it's good.
Yeah.
So from that, I think I need to go and get something done, and I need to find an opportunity. The Access programme has opened up so many doors for me. So when Katie said, Mum, I'm thinking about, I thought, thank you.